and dealing with those really annoying Reapers coming in too. Finally throwing down a few more gateways, and feels like he should be bulking up because this tank is here, and once that siege is going down, KiWiKaKi is going to have to make some sort of retreat. Now the medvac finally coming out as well, so KiWiKaKi no longer going to be forced to turtle in his own base. Not something that he wanted. That lone marine getting trapped out there too. So meanwhile, KiWiKaKi is just going to be, you know, if he can't take his natural, he's just going to go all over the map and take more. And this medvac going to be dropping a few marauders, just kind of pooping them out all over the base. KiWiKaKi doesn't have that many units in here in his base, so those marauders doing a little bit of damage for going out, and the feedback going down on that medvac didn't have that much power, exploding on contact, kind of like the feedback death of of medvacs or any units that get fed back too. This War Prism couldn't see much use, because I think if he even proxied units into the base, he would have gone against this massive marine medic ball. And now KiWiKaKi does see it coming. Does he have enough units at this point? The armor count, KiWiKaKi, even though he's been forced to turtle and kind of one-basing a little bit before he could land his second base, still just all he could do was pump out units. So kind of mass like a pretty sizable army right now. There are a few Templars out on the field. There are 4 Templars out in the field, and with some proper force field management, this Templar just gonna throw it down. You know, why not? Catch them off guard and kill some Marines while you're at it too. And let's see what's gonna happen. Both players just kind of massing up, kind of keeping an eye on the map for anything crazy going on. This dropship is gonna be coming in. KiWiKaKi gonna be waiting for this opportunity. Probably gonna wait for the start of the battle to happen, and then just gonna drop these while all the confusion is going on. Another Psystorm going down. Some of these units just get caught not on hold, and it looks like the battle's going into that unit. That means just trapped between the force fields, and here come that secondary unit going to be attacking here. Great job by KiWiKaKi, just sending a small secondary unit to go in, forcing that battle to go on, and going to be forcing KiWiKaKi to kind of keep his mind in 2 places. I'm kind of keeping an eye on the mini-map to see whether or not he's going to be pushing in at all. No, just going to be focus on microing these units right now. KiWiKaKi forced to do the same. This Zealot is just in perpetual slow motion his entire life. Not a very happy Zealot. And these Marauders just doing a lot of damage right now. Great job microing by KiWiKaKi, but they're going to go down pretty quickly, and so is this medvac. So a standstill right now outside of the base. Really only just 2 tanks, one of them pretty weakened right now, and KiWiKaKi keeps running and just wants to see what it's like. Maybe trying to pull the units out, lure them into that siege tank radius. Massive army by KiWiKaKi right now. Things are starting to even out a little bit, but KiWiKaKi is on, and the battle is ready. The charge has been researched for the Zealots, and just going to run in and mop up a ton of awesome force fields right now, just choking off both those units. But KiWiKaKi's reinforcements did come in time, and it looks like KiWiKaKi is going to be taking this one. KiWiKaKi forced to retreat at this point, and not going to push in. I don't know. Those tanks needs to wait for those tanks to really reinforce. Just a few side storms, and this whole thing gets fried. The unit's just not very strong right now, taking significant damage. KiWiKaKi has to wait until he has enough reinforcements, but this tank out here is going to do a good amount of damage. KiWiKaKi does not have enough units to really engage at this point safely without kind of losing too much. These probes need to get out of here as soon as they can, otherwise they're just going to get fried by that siege tank. And now the reinforcements come in, everything falling down just in a few shots, nothing with a lot of power. The Zealots getting their revenge for their fellow comrade who fell earlier, and probes not really falling too much, but KiWiKaKi with that remaining siege tank. This base has 1 SCV mining it right now. Just that one lonely guy out there, and KiWiKaKi is going to reinforce it, give him some friends. You know, KiWiKaKi, I don't know if has he scouted? I'm just going to take a look right now. He has not scouted that his opponent has so many bases on the map. Mining mostly just minerals. It looks like the gas is finally starting to come into play, but now a lot of marauders streaming across the map. This is not a fun sight for for any Protoss player to see. And KiWiKaKi does have the Templars to respond to that, but these Marauders, especially, they have not been upgraded, can withstand a Psystorm too, and if they run out just in time, they can withstand a few more. So we'll see if KiWiKaKi is going to transition. I don't know if he likes to play with Colossus. And great scan throw down there by KiWiKaKi, just kind of scouting that right as it's about to come in. His army is a little bit split up. KiWiKaKi was forced to cancel that, or that probably died at some point too. And again, not going to be able to engage. This time KiWiKaKi decides to turtle on his own right, wants to turtle. And KiWiKaKi now going to be transitioning, has mined out of his main, and now going to be transitioning all his SCVs over to this base. Meanwhile, running his secondary army up and going to be kind of clamping down on both sides, I assume. Or is he just going to run this in, try to do some damage? Nope, using this as a scouting army, positioning himself to kind of do a clamp down from both sides. Kind of sees that army there. I don't think he should really engage. I'm not 100% sure why he wants to engage with his army. KiWiKaKi could have taken that out pretty easily, but likes to pull them in with a small contingent and just force them to eat Marauder fire as they run in. And great job by KiWiKaKi, just spreading out his units, poking in, making KiWiKaKi trying to throw down his Psystorms as much as possible on a smaller set of units. So cool strategic play there. And KiWiKaKi knows that KiWiKaKi has not gotten any air units at all. So just going to be using and kiting his Marauders like crazy. Now has the medvac coming down on. KiWiKaKi realizing that he probably can't expand anywhere else. Just going to take the expansion between him and KiWiKaKi. I still don't think he's scouted. He still doesn't know. Well, that site takes its toll on my graphics card, but still doesn't know. And now finally has scouted that KiWiKaKi is here at this base. Going to be doing some damage to it right now. Meanwhile, it looks like that medvac did drop down, but KiWiKaKi kind of has units posted around, but those Marauders doing a good amount of damage as they play Ring Around the Rosie on that Templar. And KiWiKaKi now finally just trying to bulk down, protecting his SCVs as much as possible. Looking at the income tab, KiWiKaKi still very far ahead. 60 over 39 harvester count. Doesn't have a lot of gas coming in. Well, that's because he wasn't mining in these two, but this base has just been kind of sitting here pretty the whole time. No gas being mined here. Now he's just going to work on getting his expansion. This was a free base the entire game. There's only 2 Marauders guarding it right now. KiWiKaKi going to be trying to reinforce. This is a pretty tough spot, I think, for KiWiKaKi to reinforce. I mean, it's going to be really fast for KiWiKaKi to reinforce right out here. And so we'll see how that goes. KiWiKaKi going to be getting his warp prisons around, throwing down that proxy as well, and going to be trying to take out these expansions too. KiWiKaKi going to be bunking down as much as possible, although nothing out here is bunked. There is a single missile turret going down as this warp prison makes its way across the base. And now we have the calm before what I assume is going to be the big final storm. Right now everything's in a lull, quiet, peaceful music playing on the planet of Metalopolis as this warp prism going to be warping in here. Doesn't want to take any sort of risk in having it destroy. Getting some Templars in. Don't know if he knows he's about to run into like 4 slowed Marauder fire, but warping them in first, and it's kind of a cool idea by KiWiKaKi. Warps them, picks them up, and then just going to warp in some more. Meanwhile, it looks like KiWiKaKi does know that this is here, is going to make a push, and with enough siege tanks, this is going to be pretty difficult for KiWiKaKi to hold off. Here comes that drop, and they are fried by the Templars. Going to just be morphing into that Archon after he's used up everything. Meanwhile, KiWiKaKi going to be pushing in here. Does have the medvac to create some sort of sight, and can throw down scans as well. Tempo trying to throw down a few Psystorms. Needs to throw down a few more before it becomes really effective. But KiWiKaKi not going to have any of that. Knows that he needs to run before those Psystorms keep going down. And splitting up his forces, having just the front army choke down, eat most of the Psystorms, but just keeping the rest of his army at bay. Great push by KiWiKaKi. Just enough units to force a Psystorm, but not too many that he doesn't lose the bulk of his army. Throws down a double scan, scans his opponent and scans and gets rid of that observer at the same time. Meanwhile, these tanks are just going to be blasting away here. Not the easiest spot to defend for KiWiKaKi at this point. And those Templars just going to go down. Tanks slowly pushing their way up with that Shift E button, moving and sieging at the same time, or sieging right afterwards on the Q. And now I don't think this, I mean, it could be enough. Really pushing in here, has a ton of Immortals right now to respond to that tank fire. Lots of Sidestorm going down on the field, but these Marauders with the healing going on is just going to be a lot. He does have, KiWiKaKi does have +1 upgrade right now. There is a +1 on KiWiKaKi, but it looks like this just might be too much for KiWiKaKi to hold off at this point. There is some this lone guy standing right here. I think another Sidestorm did go down on those units, but KiWiKaKi was able to hold it off, though KiWiKaKi going to be reinforcing far too quickly right now. Has a whole mess of barracks in his base and going to be loading them up into the medvacs. Some sort of drop about to happen. Zealots being warped in. This expansion going to fall, or KiWiKaKi might be defending it. Meanwhile, there is... See, KiWiKaKi did not know that there was a command center here. Going ahead and going to be trying to place that down. Going to be in for the surprise of some sort of life. KiWiKaKi, meanwhile, just kind of waiting here with his medvacs. I think right now, yeah, KiWiKaKi has mined out. Poor Probe running in and thinking that he could just place a base down there. There has been a base there almost the latter half of the game. This drop, I think, gonna end it at this point. I assume there's just no response here, and KiWiKaKi being forced to remote mine the gold all the way across the map. The feedback going down, no explosions. I want to see an explosion on the medvac, but now the small contingent of forces. If he kites this properly, what just happened there? Those Zealots kind of rushed in and just backed off. They were a little scared of what's going on. KiWiKaKi does have enough units right now, but does not have anything to mine. Looking at the income tab, KiWiKaKi just pulling way ahead, and here he goes. Once he makes enough units, just gonna push out, and this remote mining is just not gonna work right now for KiWiKaKi. So this might be game for KiWiKaKi. Terran units pushing in, and Storm's going down, but KiWiKaKi just spreading out his units as much as possible, trying to minimize that Sidestorm damage. Great micro on his part, and a GG from KiWiKaKi. So fun game from both players. First time I've seen Terran force choked into their base, but at the same time able to just kind of float away and expand. Great use of the War Prism by KiWiKaKi. Kind of summoning up units before loading them in so he can just drop them off, and also using it to kind of give some early pressure on the Terran player, and also having the proxy pylon in there too. So great job from both players. Looking forward to more games from them. This has been a JCS broadcast, and I am signing off.